You know I got it up. Oh, go on. Don't know about that. There we go. Back to them a play me song fancy pole a girl a pull me zip lip. Why me load up me clip 19 with the chip. Give her 3 rounds and she said the liar fit. Me say no baby, you're the magnum tonic. Back to the badness, bust them with the bust lip. Make the mother get in the spirit and a ball. Oh lord, him head more me hit. Brain fly go Dubai like an influencer. From your disc get flush just like Era Elder shout out. Yo Della that is it. Cause him love when witness. Butterflick, castic, Taliban this Kadawar. 3 mix thugs are us, Genesis the Exodus. Bust them head and pray, some religious. Index a work overtime, it no rough. Ashes to ashes, yeah, dust to dust. Them a fraud, Z-Tech, give them a applause. Hot up the place just like pepper sauce. Them done with the blicky air, Ricky. You no take me knock it till it empty. Clip a carry half a century. From the money it is belly, me ready. Race out a clip just like it a Shelly. They say me lay them to sleep. Yo, pick up some Z's, work can't see space under sea. Ha! Where them a do, where them a try. Try by, boom, bye, bye. Where them a do, where them a try. Skull on the line, me a sell some light. Where them a do, where them a try. Them say me a the goat, so me them want tie. Where them a do, where them a try. Rich up, so me throw money in the sky, yeah. Wanna know me have all done me buy one beast and rough up the street. Still a work all when me dey pan leave. I do just turn down the beat, place a fi quiet. Anytime you a thief, me a hunt for the M's them just like a G. Them say education are the key, but a white collar crime pay for my degree. Ha. Where them a do, where them a try. Try by, boom bye bye. Where them a do, where them a try. Skull on the line, me a sell some light. Where them a do, where them a try. Them say me a the goat, so me them want tie. Where them a do, where them a try. Rich up, so me throw money in the sky. Hello, I got it. People. Drag down a big food anytime with the boat. That is it. Skull on the line. White collar crime. Me hate this all I left the night. Della, ha!
Yo, 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 yo. Bless up, bless up, bless up, bless up, bless up, bless up, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome again to another live on the Kada Williams Entertainment YouTube channel. Yeah, this is a midweek live, a midweek podcast. So it should be interesting. We still have the one planned for Friday as we usually do, but I figured since we have such a special topic for Friday, we can't really get any chance to cover like the growing news that's trending right now, or things that's going on right now, and that topic in the same live. So figured to split them in two. This is gonna be a shorter live, trying to keep it down to an hour. Hopefully it can be down to an hour. But you know, a couple topics going on. We're gonna run through it real quick and talk about it. And you know a lot of people here, they like to hear the conversation, especially people on long drives. You know, people that are cleaning. You know, people like to stick their headphones in, or cut the radio on or the speakers on and just let the podcast run. So you know what I mean, if this is enjoyment and entertainment to you, then big up yourself. People, we actually have on the line our recurring guest, the man, the myth, the legend, Carlos. Carlos, are you there?
Oh, there, bro. There, man.
Everybody make some noise to Carlos. Yeah, man. Carlos is here.
Yeah.
What's going on, brother?
Bro, there, bro. taking it easy,
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Try to fight like a flu virus, But nonetheless, yeah,
Yeah. You have to do it, cause the other day, I remember said the last podcast was the recovery. One of the last guys, it's something I go around, Bridget. I don't know what's going on, but as one thing I learned, as you age, you know what I mean. Not that we're old or anything, but as you get older and you grow, your immune system doesn't work the same way. The things that you could get away with um, as a teen or even somebody in their early 20s, you're not going to be able to get away with those things after, when you're older. So it's all about keeping your body in the right um, st- uh, st- uh, in the right status, you know what I mean. Proper exercise, proper diet, and that will keep the doctors away, man. If you are eating right, the things that are conducive um, to your health, staying off all the things that are gonna have you develop all these diseases and issues, and then you do proper exercise, you really don't need medicine for the most part. You know what I mean? What say you?
yeah. I totally agree with you 100%, bro. I mean, once they say um health is the greatest wealth, So as long as you stick to the procedure of life, wherein as you say, you do exercise,
Right.
you try to have a balanced diet. You try just to keep on par with your health in general. Then I think overall you should be in good shape. And
Right.
you're right about the age factor. When the age factor comes in, bro, it's like it's a different ball game. Back things they used to do back in the early days, they cannot do that anymore. So, it's like it's just good to just if you're eating food that are not good for you, I mean something you can eat food in moderation,
Right.
or just do things the right way, and do your checkup at the doctors regularly so you can know what's going on in your life. Because I know from even know men tend to have this tendency where, especially we growing up in Jamaica, we try to have this macho thing where like we don't really want to see any doctor. I tell you, when you get older, it's a different ball game. The checkup,
That's so true, man.
not that I'm reaching that I'm. 'Cause I'm talking as though as if like I'm in my 60s or something. You have to get conscious from now,
Yeah, but that's the thing. Like, even though you're not in your 60s,
Yeah,
you kind of have to
yeah,
start eating
yeah,
like somebody in their 60s
yeah,
from this point in time. You know what I mean? Like, you can't
yeah,
wait until you're in your 60s to say, okay, now I'm gonna eat healthy, and I'm gonna do this extra stuff. No, like, so for some people it might be too late. Not for everybody. Everybody's body is different. There's some people that they can eat like shit, for lack of a better word, and all their life, even when they're old, and they live to see a ripe old age, you know what I mean, before they die.
yeah,
So everybody's body is built, absolutely built different. But you can't really take that chance. It's better to be proactive than to be reactive. Especially, for people that have kids, man, you want to be around here for a long time. You know,
yeah,
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 it. I mean, yeah, it'd be not. Yeah, you want to be around here for a good time. Nothing's wrong with that, but also a long time. You know what I
yeah.
mean? Because yeah, this is life, man.
It's very important to be able to be around the kids for a while because
Right,
worse especially if you're not someone who had your kids in your teens or in your early 20s. You
right,
start to have kids in your 30s, and then at least you want to keep your body fit, and so that I mean when you're in your 50s and those kids are probably in your 20s or so, then at least you can you can go places with your kids and have a little time with them, because by the time you'll be in your 60s, so you at least want to get sometime in your 50s to be able to hang around with your kids, especially in your 20s,
yeah.
so it's a good thing.
Yeah, most definitely, most definitely. All right, so let's I want to move into the topic, but before I do that, the topics, but before I do that, I just think it's important that I bring up what's going on in Jamaica as far as this Hurricane Beryl. So, for those who don't know, there's a hurricane that passed. I think it's past Jamaica now. It passed earlier today, and thankfully we never got the eye of the storm. It was mostly the outer bands, the rain and the
Yeah,
wind from the outer bands.
yeah,
Of course, there was a lot of damage. I'm seeing the videos that people are sending me from all over. That the damages from all over that people sent me. Were there any fatalities? I don't know as yet. I mean, usually, it's sad to say, but usually there's always at least one fatality whenever there's like a big tropical storm or event like that going on. There's always somebody's that's just caught in the wrong place, wrong time, that type of thing. But hopefully there isn't. This one doesn't seem like it was that bad compared to how it was approaching Jamaica in a Category 5 status. It definitely it toned itself down and changed its direction, and yeah, I'm sure that there's a lot of people that got damaged, but for the most part, it seems as if, from what I'm seeing so far, it seems as if a lot of people were able to slide through it unharmed and unscathed, and that's the most important thing.
yeah. It's a good thing, because what, like I know we tend to have this popular talk in Jamaica wherein whenever we're gonna be faced with an hurricane, this popular talk that we're not getting any hurricane or it's gonna turn back or God bless Jamaica. But when it comes down to like something like a natural disaster, I mean, as much as though we can say God bless Jamaica, it's something that we have to actually always have our mitigation practices up ready for, because at any given time, this disaster, such as a Category 4 hurricane, can create massive damage. So I mean, I don't think it's anything we should take for granted. We should always be ready to get ourselves ready. And even though we cannot be totally ready for these kind of situations, because no one want to face an hurricane, but in these type of catastrophes, I will encourage everyone to just take it serious. Um, don't try to underestimate the power of a hurricane and the damages that can occur as a result of it. But
Ha-
it's something serious.
Have you been seeing the memes that are going around with the one about the prime minister said Jamaicans need to stock up on food or whatever, and then you see the long line going to KFC.
Oh, is there a meme about that? Honest, as a,
There's a lot of memes going around. One of my cousins, he's the one that I see with all the memes. He's like, he's up on like all the latest memes and stuff.
yeah,
Yeah,
honestly, I haven't seen that. I haven't seen that one.
so funny,
Yeah,
man. You should go check it out.
yeah,
I wish I could find it and share it right now with the live, but um, yeah, funny as hell. Cause the stereotype with Jamaica and KFC, right?
yeah. Oh my God, I wish I had seen that those memes though. You know, but it's
Yeah,
just Jamaica. Every now and then you always have, like, especially when it come around to election time. Like, there's always some meme going around with that. I mean, they tend to do a lot of meme about our prime minister. Even over here with the Joe Biden guy, you see a lot of memes going around these days as I'm following the debate. So yeah, memes are everywhere, man.
yeah.
My God, man. My God.
Did you watch the debate?
bro, bro. I don't know. I think during that time of the debate, during the night of the debate, I believe we were texting, right? And I know what the conclusion from that debate is. One of I think Donald Trump is in denial and Joe Biden is clueless. That's the only
Mm,
conclusion I can draw. Honestly, none of them is not my guy anyway.
right.
Yeah. It was one of the most laughable debate I've ever watched in my entire life. Can you imagine one was saying to the other? I think Donald Trump, Joe Biden was saying, "You are a sucker," and Trump was saying, "No, you are the sucker." I was like, "Hey, this guy, bro, what the hell, bro?" That's like,
Yo, I'll be honest. I was watching it. I probably
Uh,
watched half of it, and then I was so tired I ended up going to sleep. But from what I was seeing, it was I, in some ways it it was entertaining, but I mean it's not supposed to be entertaining. You know what I mean? It's supposed to be informative and a
yeah,
serious
yeah.
debate. And in there's some things that I saw. It's just honestly it's a bit embarrassing to see. Like I just think that for America to be such a superpower, it's just that when you look at, with all due respect to those guys, when you look at the candidates there and how they carry themselves, debates aren't what they used to be, you know, and the candidates aren't what they used to be, you know. It's just, I'll say that.
Bro, it was, to be honest, that debate was totally unorthodox. Honestly, because you kind of use that debate where there's some certain form of formality involved. Especially we coming from Jamaica, where like we know our people there tend to be a little like whenever it comes to like presenting themselves, they try to express themselves in a very in the most intelligent way they can. And America is known for that as well. But to see debate has reached this point where it's coming like it's like a total like comedy. Like come on, we cannot have a great country like such as America where it is being led by these two guys. Not to say I'm not trying to disrespect these guys, but honestly, they're honestly, Tristan, like I have no confidence in none of those guys. Say that boldly, no confidence.
Yeah, it's a hard sell for me as well for both of them, but I don't want to delve on this topic. Let's get
Yeah,
into it, Carlos. So
yeah.
um let's get into the first topic. So there's some reports coming out that Diddy sold his house, and there's a lot of speculation that he sold his house. Well, the report is saying that he sold his house. He sold it. He bought the house for like 40 million, and he's selling the house for 70 million, uh, which is like quite a beautiful return. I think he bought it in 2004 or something like that. So to sell it 20 years later with almost a 100% return is, for real estate, that's fabulous. Because real estate, we're not expecting the same type of returns that you get in this, let's say, the stock market compared to or the index fund market compared to real estate. So for the real estate, that's a really good profit actually. Now, from the reports that I've been reading, it says that he sold. The reports was spinned as if he sold the house because of the raid, and I guess it may have put a bad taste in his mouth, or put bad memories in his mouth, or bad memories, about the raid and stuff like that. So you kind of feel uncomfortable living there or whatever in the future. Um, could be the reason? Could be that Diddy's trying to make a profit off the house. I mean, it did appreciate 30 million in value, right? However, there's a lot of speculations going out that he sold the house so he could pay all his legal fees and all those settlements that he settled with people. Now, um, that speculation is also leading or alluding that Diddy is going broke. Um, what say you about the situation, man?
You see, the thing when it comes down to if there and if there is any fact to that information that Diddy is selling his house, I think really though whenever it comes to like considering that he's in a an illegal matter right now and he's selling his house, the fact that he's selling his house does not necessarily mean that he might be going broke, because if you think about it, like a lot of people from every now and then they go through legal matters, and whenever they're going through legal matters, the best way for them to handle certain legal matters is for them to liquidate one of their assets. Not to say that all their the asset that they have on their books, those assets are they're getting rid of all the assets on their books. So in this case, it could just be a case of him just wanting to just like, you know what, I'm just gonna get this house off my hand so I can move to, as I said, go to another town where I can get peace of mind, but not necessarily because he's going broke. I guarantee you that Diddy will not. If Diddy is such a rich person or a wealthy person that we have been hearing about from our time growing up, I doubt one of Diddy's largest asset class would have been his house, you know. So I'm thinking that, like, I mean, for him, if there's any fact to this, it is maybe it's just to settle some legal matters, you know. But I don't think if there's any truth to this, that Diddy is actually going broke as a result of him even selling his house. Because worst case scenario, if it should be a case where Diddy is facing litigation cases where he have to sell most of his assets or liquidate most of his assets, then I probably didn't, and once a year the word, even if bankruptcy should comes in the mix, and you hear that Diddy is filing for bankruptcy, that still does not mean that Diddy is actually broke, you know. So sometimes we hear this argument. I mean, all over the place when someone is liquidating an asset or they're selling some of their asset in light of their legal matter that they're getting broke. But sometimes there are much more underlying pieces to these liquidation of asset why that they have to do this. So I mean, I don't want to jump the gun to say that, but I think there are some underlying pieces which we all need to understand before we can say that he's getting broke.
Right. Well said. Here's my thought on this whole situation. Right. Um, let's say I'm gonna entertain the thought that Diddy sold the house so he could pay for legal fees. I'm just gonna go ahead and entertain it. Right. Let's say that is the case. Right. For the people that are saying Diddy is broke. Right. Let's say that is the case. Now, remember, Diddy is supposedly a billionaire, right? With a B, right?
Is he a billionaire though? Because the last time I checked, he wasn't. Is he a billionaire? I think he was. I think he's not. I did some check last year.
Let's. I'm gonna even say, let's hypothetically say he's a billionaire. I think he's pretty close to it, right?
Yeah.
Hypothetically, let's say he's a billionaire, right?
Yeah.
Um. No. Diddy selling that house to pay for legal fees and settlements doesn't mean that he's broke. Not necessarily. Could be a strategic move for cash flow, because some people think that being a billionaire, or let's say a millionaire, means that you have $1 million or $1 billion cash in the bank or liquid assets. That's not quite the case. Diddy, even though he's a billionaire, right? Billionaire, Diddy might only have like 150 or $200 million in cash and cash equivalents, and all the rest of the $800 billion is tied up in equity, or less liquid equity type forms of investment vehicles, such as property, businesses, yada yada yada, you name it, right? Retirement, that type of thing. So I say that to say, a billionaire with only $200 million in cash, right? And then he's hit with, let's say, okay, the Cassie thing was a $30 million settlement, right?
Yeah.
Let's say between legal fees and the $30 million settlement that he has going on, let's say he has to come up with $50 million, right, to get himself out of that bind, right? Now, $50 million cash is what we're talking about. $50 million is what percent? Let's see. So let's see how much percentage of his net worth that is, right? Hold on, I'm calculating right now. So $50 million, sorry, is only 5% of Diddy's net worth. So you figure, I mean, for a billionaire to part with 5% of your net worth, it doesn't hurt as much as somebody that is worth 100,000. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right, and parting with $5,000, that does hurt a lot more, right? Now, it doesn't hurt that much. Secondly, here's how it could hurt though, even though he's a billionaire, right? Diddy only has $200 million in cash, hypothetically, right? So he has $50 million, right? Divide by $200 million in cash. So that's 25% of his cash and cash equivalents. So even though it's 5% of his total net worth, right? It's 25% of his cash and cash equivalent. That hurts. That hurts. Doesn't mean he's going broke, but it hurts because somebody with $200 million in cash, that's a billionaire, now they're down to $150 million. And if an investment opportunity should come about, I'm not even going to talk about the money that they pay to maintain um, their lifestyle, right? Because that's a different story. That might be a smaller figure. But if an investment opportunity should come the way, then they have $50 million less to put or diversify in a new investment opportunity that they need to, when those come along, you can't really wait. Those things, you got to jump on them fast and get into them quick. So that is my take on it. It's not that Diddy is broke, it's really just a cash flow strategy to make sure that he doesn't drain all his liquid assets just because he has to part with $50 million. So if he sells one of his equity, yes, he's gonna part with $50 million, but at least he still has a substantial amount of liquid assets such as cash and cash equivalents to still continue to grow his wealth and take advantage of opportunities. Well, anything you want to say further on it?
I mean, yeah, I think, yeah, you summed it up well enough, Tristan. Honestly, I think, I mean, like, I certainly agree with you because, I mean, I would like to think that Diddy, even if he's making these moves, as in like wanted to sell his house, I would like to think that he's getting some advice from his advisors, his final, because I know Diddy must have financial advisors, his lawyer.
Multiple, probably multiple,
Yeah, man,
right?
he's getting a lot of advice. So these moves that Diddy is making right now, they're all calculated, and he know exactly what he's doing. Because at the end of the day, anything that he can do to free up his hands from all these backlash that he's getting and clear all his legal fees, I think whatever he needs to get done, he will do it. And if the house is the most, and to think about it, as much as how he's trying to sell his house, even though an house as much as how it has value, sometimes it is. I would like to say it's a fixed asset, by the way. So sometimes to get this asset set is not the easiest thing, Sometimes,
It
so
takes time,
yeah,
and then
it
and
takes
if
time.
you're trying to liquidate a fixed asset like a house in a short space of time, more than likely you're gonna end up selling it for less than what it's worth. You know what
Yes,
I mean? Because you're at a time crunch. You know.
yeah. So, I mean, so all these things has to be factored in. So I think, I mean, as I said, Tristan, I think Diddy knows what he's doing. I mean, at the end of the day, he's following the instructions from his advisors and his lawyers. And I think I wish him the best in all his endeavors. I hope um if he's really trying to sell that house, I mean, kudos to him if he get massive returns, because the appreciate the fact that he owned that house since 2004, and that it has appreciated in value so much, that I'm thinking that like that's a big profit for him, big profit. So that's a good thing. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, we really don't know. I mean, obviously, none of us have access to Diddy's financial statements, right? The only people that might have access to it is his accountants and financial advisors, the tax representatives that look at his taxes, and the hackers, because the hackers, they have something. The hackers always have somebody's
Yep.
information, right? They're
Yeah.
just waiting on the right the opportune time to use it as leverage, if they haven't already. But yeah, I don't really have much more to say on that, guys. I don't think Diddy's broke if all that is stands true about the things, the companies that he owns and stuff like that. In fact, they just bought his liquor company. What's it called, Ciroc or something like that. Didn't they
Yes.
just buy him out? They bought out
Yeah.
his equity in Ciroc.
Yes.
So he got
They
a
did.
big payout. So he should have some. He should be highly liquid right now.
Yes.
Because he just liquidated um, it he just liquidated some of his assets, and and that's another thing too. Like you talking about selling a house, it takes a long time. Talk about selling a business, that even takes a lot longer
A
because
le-
right,
much longer, bro.
much longer because there's way more research and there's way more evaluation that has to go on for somebody to, the right prospect to buy it for the right price. You know what I mean?
I mean the house is just a minute fraction of Diddy's wealth. Honestly, that's just a minute fraction of it. So him trying to sell that house. I mean, he could easily sell that house and get another house in no time. So I mean, like, I mean, it's not really a big deal for him right now. And based on what I'm seeing, he said that he want to get peace of mind. So he want to live somewhere else because probably as you said, the memory that he had in that house or whatever the
Yeah.
case may be. So just want to get rid of it so they can move on to somewhere else where there is more peace.
Yeah.
So
All right. So let's move on to the next topic. So we're gonna get into the whole Bronny James thing. So just to give you guys a synopsis of what's going on. So LeBron James, obviously everybody knows LeBron James, um, one of the greatest players of all time in basketball. I'm not. He's not my goat. Michael Jordan is actually my goat. LeBron, honestly, LeBron is probably not even my top two. I'll be honest, and this is no disrespect to LeBron, because I think he's a beast. But it's one thing to be just like a spectacular player, but it's another thing to achieve um, certain important goals, which I would say is to get rings. Like when you look at a guy like Michael Jordan, he got 6 rings. See, the 6 times he played for a ring, he never lost one playoff final. Kobe got about 5 rings. You know what I mean? I think Kobe lost like a playoff final. I don't remember, it's so long ago. But Kobe got 5 rings, man. And there's like other guys like Bill Russell and other guys from back in the day that got like 11 rings and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Being the lead guy on their team, basically, right? No, LeBron James, I think, only has about 3 rings or 3 championships, being the lead guy on his team. So he went to the playoff finals quite a few times and lost. You know what I mean? So he's a great player. He's a beast, but he's not even my top two. I'll be honest with you. But anyways, te- this is not about LeBron's greatness at this point. So LeBron, he has a son, his older son, Bronny James. He was playing college basketball, and he got to the age to where he could be drafted to the NBA, and he was actually drafted to the NBA to be playing in the upcoming season. But there's this big uproar because the team that he got drafted to is a team that doesn't normally draft um, rookies with his type of numbers, basically. Because, I mean, like when you look at the Lakers is like a big market team, you know what I mean? They usually try to get the best of the best, because every time they play, they're actually going for a championship versus like other teams, the Rockets or whatever the other teams. They're just playing to develop their squad most of the time and stay into the NBA until they get to a point where they have a proper squad. Then they think about winning a championship. You know what I mean? But Lakers, almost every single year, the Lakers has a good enough squad to win the championship, because it's like when you look at like Manchester United are one of those teams when you think about Lakers. Even though Manchester United is kind of shit right now, but every year they have the quality that it takes to actually win the Premier League. You understand what I'm saying?
yeah,
So there's this big uproar about the accused or alleged nepotism going on, since LeBron James is like the main guy over on the Lakers. he's like LeBron James literally runs the Lakers besides the owners, because he gets coaches fired. He has to like the coach for the coach to come in. That type of thing. You see what I'm saying? And the Lakers drafted Bronny James as a second round pick to come and play for them. And normally, if he wasn't, basically people are saying that if he wasn't Bronny James, right, LeBron James' son, with LeBron James being there and having so much pulling power there, he would have never made it to the Lakers. In fact, he probably wouldn't. Some people are going as far as to say he probably wouldn't have even made it to the NBA. So I am curious to see how he's gonna perform, and how much minutes he's gonna get. I'm sure, I hope he's not a starter, because usually you gotta be like a top tier rookie. Usually rookies don't even start, especially for like a big market team like that. So you got to be a top tier rookie even to just to get like reasonable minutes. Most of those guys, they sit on the bench like literally the whole game, and like get like garbage minutes even if they do get any type of minutes. You know what I mean? So let's look at Ronnie's stats for a little bit, and I'll let you chime in, Carlos. So this is the average, and for the people that know basketball out there, tell me if I'm tripping, right? So in 2023 to 2024, that season in college, Bronny played for so what's it called? I don't remember the name of the college that he played for, right? Southern California, sorry. Now, Bronny James put up 4.8 points per game. He played 25 games, put up 4.8 points per game. His total rebounds was 2.8 per game. His total assists were 2.1 per game. Field goal percentage was 36.6% per game, which that's kind of low. I would say I think your field goals should be a little higher. Yeah, 3 point field goal percentage is 26. 26 is also kind of low. I mean, it isn't garbage numbers, but it's nothing too special to write home about, right? Three throw percentages, 67%. You think three free throws? I mean, LeBron James isn't a good free throw shooter, but you would think that somebody that's a rookie breaking into the NBA would at least try to get like a 70% average playing college basketball or whatever, right? Effective field goal percentage. This statistic adjusts for the fact that a 3-point field goal is worth one more point than a 2-point field goal. That's 43%, 43.8%. And his player efficiency rating is 10.3. And win shares, an estimate of the number of wins contributed by a player due to their offense on defense, is 0.8. So I was watching, Carlos, and I know I'm being long-winded here. I was watching this YouTube channel with a guy called Jimmy High Roller, which is very popular with his research and breaking down things of this nature as it relates to the NBA. And based on the things that he's presenting, he's saying that these types of number, and I'd like to add that Bronny James is a guard. He plays a guard. These types of numbers that Bronny James had put up that would have qualified him to play for the Lakers, there's only two other people in however many years of the NBA that has put up similar numbers, or numbers that low, that actually made it to in a similar capacity to an NBA team as he does. So long story short, a lot of people are in an uproar. They think that this is pure nepotism at its finest, and this is taking away opportunities from another budding talent that could have made it, that doesn't have the connection like Bronny James do. So my question to you, Carlos, is what are your thoughts on nepotism? Is it okay, and do you think that there's nepotism going on right here, or did Bronny James work hard to make the team?
All right. So all right, when it comes down to I think it is it is clear that nepotism plays its part in a lot of in sports, in music, all over. So most of the so in LeBron's James situation wherein, he's this big NBA player, as you know him as um he's just using like he's I think he's pretty much just using his power to use it to have his son have this be a part of the Lakers because as based on what you're saying, LeBron James is a person who he has this strength within the Lakers where he can get he can get anybody fired based on the status that he has and the multiple titles that he has won over the years. So I can see why he's actually using his force. No, I don't want to say force. Using the strength that he has within in the Lakers to get this done there. Overall, I just think that sometimes the idea of nepotism is kind of I don't want to say it's bad. Sometimes it can be seen as unfair. Sometimes, especially if there are other budding talents out there who can actually play better or more or someone who is more organized, especially in a sports such as NBA where there are a lot of talents out there. So I mean, if there's someone out there who's actually better than Bronny James, and people might be thinking that that guy could have taken the place of Bronny James and do a better job. Even though Bronny James seems to be a very based on what I'm seeing, he seems to be very organized. He has been doing a lot because I did a little research on him. I don't know
Mm-hmm.
much, so see where he's organized and he can reach far. But I mean, though, in the grand scheme of things, though, like if nepotism is gonna be the sole reason why he will be able to get to he's going to be playing for Lakers, especially in that capacity. I mean I could understand why others might see it as unfair and somewhat forceful, given the fact that there are other talents out there who could be who could get the same opportunity to play in that same position as him and even do better. So I mean, I don't want to say nepotism is bad, but I can understand why someone might be see it as unfair because sometimes nepotism it just works. I mean, I don't think the person who may be in the situation where someone is saying it is nepotism why that is working out for them. Sometimes I don't think they are doing anything bad. I just think it's just like they're just born in a situation where their dad is someone who's talented, likable, and they're just able to feed off the legacy of their parents, and it works for them. So I mean, kudos to someone who can benefit from nepotism, especially but given the fact that it has been done fairly. If it is forceful, then that's a total different situation. So I mean, Lakers is a big team.
But
I mean,
is it fairly if it's nepotism? Because if he got through fair and square, because there's some situations where um there could be an opportunity for nepotism, but it's not nepotism that got him through. Because I'm sure if Bronny James was balling his ass off, you know what I mean? Well, why? If Bronny James was balling out of this world, right? If he was balling out of this world, even though LeBron is over there, if he got drafted to the Lakers and he was like basically putting up numbers or performing like how Zion Williamson, if he
yeah.
was like performing like Zion Williamson when Zion was drafted, that type of game, do you think that that would even be a conversation about
No,
nepotism?
no, you see, and that's why I said that I don't think we would have a conversation about nepotism. But I said the thing though, Tristan, like I just think that whether we on the outside want to say it is nepotism or that is the reason why he is probably gonna be playing within that capacity for the Lakers. I think I just think that like at the end of the day, even if LeBron wasn't the person who was actually trying to the one who was trying to get him to play for the Lakers. I mean, I think in any regards, just the mere fact that LeBron James is if he was supposed to play somewhere else, if it was a different team, don't you think that there would be a strong um gravitation towards him, knowing that LeBron James is just that. I mean, I'm just saying though, because I mean, and that probably that has nothing to do with LeBron James trying to ensure that he played for that particular team. You know, I just think that just the mere fact that you are associated or being the child of a legend, especially in the basketball arena, any form of sports, I think like it just the popularity factor works as well, you know, and yes, nepotism like it's involved. Yes, it works. I mean, so as long as so as long as like your parents or whoever has certain status is not trying to they're not using their power to get you in. I don't want to say it's unfair for you, the child, because at the end of the day, you're not. It's just because of their legacy where it's working up, but not necessarily you doing anything else. You know, that's just how the system works. You know, I mean,
So you're
someone,
saying that. Go ahead.
yeah, yeah, someone who is likable and favorable,
Right.
and they have a legendary status. I think their child or children, I mean, they will benefit like automatically. You know? Not necessarily mean as a bad thing. Just because of the status, you know. I don't think it's really unfair, you know.
It's to me it's tricky because I look at it this way. If I'm running my business, right, and let's say I'm running a certain type of business, right, and um my I have a son or a daughter, and in my eyes, if they would want to do it, only if they, because if they don't want to do it, then that's fine, they could go their own path. But if they want to and they're okay with taking over the business, I would rather for them to take over the business just for um, legacy versus having to sell the business or have somebody else like really running the business. I'd want my children to have control of it, which is it's natural, But then sometimes when you think about it that way, you bringing in your child to take over the business isn't always the best thing because your child might not be equipped enough to make the right decisions to take the business um, any further or take it to that next level or even just keep it going. While there, you might have somebody that's an executive or a high level employee that has all it takes to really grow it into something if they're the one that's making the big decisions. You know what I mean? Even though the ownership might still stay in the family. I think it gets tricky there because then you're leaving the final decision making to somebody that's less experienced or that's less knowledgeable about the overall landscape of the business sometimes. And that's what nepotism, that's the negative side of nepotism because sometimes it doesn't work out the way it's supposed to, because for example, let's say Bronny James now goes to the NBA and he gets his chance to play and he's shit. Then what happens then? Now it proves a point. Now so there's gonna be a lot of pressure on Bronny James for him to perform because every time he doesn't perform or he does something wrong, it's gonna always be that, oh, you're only here because your father is LeBron James, and that's probably gonna put a psychological toll on that kid, But I hope that's something that LeBron had prepared him for mentally, because with sports, it can take a toll on you and it can affect your game big time if you're listening to the outside noise. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's why I said that like as long as so if LeBron is the one who is actually forcing to ensure that Bronny James actually cement his spot in Lakers, then that's a different situation, But I mean, if it's natural selection, then if it's natural selection, then I mean, I wouldn't beat him so bad. But if I mean, on the other hand, if it's LeBron James trying to force him, then I can't see them. They say, you know what, it's because of his father. Why this? Because of your father having his status, and that's the only reason why you get a chance to play for the Lakers, and that's why and we know for a fact that he weren't good enough or in the best capacity to play for us. So I could see why they would beat him in that regards. But I mean, let us see. Let us see. I mean,
Yeah,
let us see.
yeah. I'm gonna keep my finger on the pulse of this topic because I'm sure it's gonna come up because this is like big news. You know what I mean? Anyways, let's digress. Let's move on to the next topic, right? So the next topic is Coach Halgrimson stepping down. Coach Halgrimson resigns
Really?
from the coach position of the Jamaica national men's football team. So earlier, well, last week, it was actually before the game that Jamaica played against Venezuela, that last game that they played in the Copa America before their campaign ended, which they did lose, unfortunately. There was an article that came out in the Jamaica Observer referring to the relationship between Coach Halgrimson and the JFF souring over a certain period of time, and that he was going to resign, or he could be resigning after that last game that was played, because of a few reasons. One of them being that uh, I don't remember the exact every of all the ones, but one of them that I remember is that when he took Jamaica to the Copa America, the JFF was supposed to receive $2 million, and he was requesting. I guess he was requesting that he get a bonus out of that, and the JFF just was not having that. So that was one of the things that was established, as
Yeah.
well as I believe I don't want to say any wrong information, but basically they're saying that the situation has soured and he was gonna resign, and then so be it. He resigned literally. I think the day after or the day of the match, when the last match that was played against Venezuela when we lost, and he gave a press conference about it. It was more so a positive. He's a positive guy. He's very professional. I gotta commend Coach Halgrimson about that. And he explained his reasons for resigning, and so forth, so on. But in my opinion, I don't think that I think that maybe he was thinking about resigning, but I mean, I don't think that he really did resign. I think they just sacked him, and then he has to do it the diplomatic way, basically, of resigning, because they don't want to make it look embarrassing that they fired him, because they, of course, they still have to keep that respect. But obviously, I think the JFF, they're pulling the strings, and they weren't pleased with what's going on with Al Grinson, which rightfully so, because a lot of people aren't pleased with him as well, as far as the Copa America. With such talent that we have out there, yes, nobody was expecting that we had to get out of the group, but we should have got something out of that competition, if it's even one draw or something like that. We shouldn't have lost all three games. But what say you about the overall situation, and what are your thoughts on it?
You know what? Like you said, whenever it comes to a sport such as football, or some call it soccer, I think, like, I mean, especially a national team. Whenever it's a national team, the federation is always gonna have high expectations, and one of their expectations is always to ensure that, like, they are winning games, or they are doing well, especially if you're gonna participate in a competition such as, like, whether it be a local competition, or one within your region, or one such as Copa America. I mean, there are expectations. There are expectations, and Jamaica is not. I want to say Jamaica is not the first country, will never be the last, that will, if that's the case, if that's the case, to fire a coach. Because I remember back in the days when we had Rene Simoes, who was it Rene Simoes? I think it was Rene Simoes. I think it was Rene Simoes, and then there was another one by the name of, I think it was, I don't think it was Zaccaroni. There was a coach by the name of Zaccaroni who was coaching. I don't remember that coach. His name was Zaccaroni, something like.
Zachariah.
Yeah, I think he was the next coach after Rene Simoes, and I believe that when we were playing for I think it was a 2002 World Cup qualifiers, and when we lost our last match, when we lost that match, the Horace Burrell, I think they fired the coach on the
Yeah,
team.
Captain Beryl. Yeah.
Yeah, or Captain Burrell fired the coach on the team, on the match. Sorry. So I mean, in so just to look at what's going on right now with algorithms. I think like I mean, I just think like I understand like Jamaica is we are in a spot right now where we are very hungry right now to make it to the next World Cup, and in order for us to prove to ourselves that we can make it to the next World Cup, we have to be playing games and winning games, and when we get invited to competitions such as Copa America, we have to go there and make a mark, and by
Right.
making a mark mean that we should be very organized, and we should if even if we're not we don't necessarily like be victorious in the we also want to come out of the group stages. We are no longer by the narrative wherein like we just want to go there and win one match. We should be coming out of the group stages because at the end of the day it doesn't matter the magnitude of a team or the status or whatever the ranking of a team, whether they're a South American team or a European team or wherever they are located. I think that we want to win games because it doesn't matter how strong your opponents are. It just if you are the more organized team in a given day, I think we can easily win a game. So with Jamaica going to the Copa America and didn't perform as expected and given the quality of the team that we have right now, I think I can understand the disgust. I can understand the feeling of like that everyone is feeling like like we need to see a change. So for them to make a if for them to make a move to terminate Algrim's service, I think like I don't think it's probably the worst decision they made because you know what, we have to always seek to improve our game and try to show our international counterparts that we can outplay them and we can win games, especially that we're heading towards the World Cup. So I don't think it's a bad decision overall. I mean we have to seek to get better, and the coach is a key factor in helping and in light of the games that we played, especially the choices that he made in the latter stages of the game. I think they are thinking that some of those decisions they're a bit too reactive. You should be thinking.
Yeah. Yeah.
You should have a better game plan going into each game, knowing that. Because I'm thinking that he must have done his research. Because most coaches, they do their research whenever they're gonna play against a team. They know the other team attackers, they know the defenders, they know everyone. So that it is the duty of the coach to prepare the team in such a way so that you can you have your attackers, you have your defenders who can stand up against that team, and whenever it comes to a match, you'll know how to execute and win the game. So I can see why he's getting that pressure to the extent that he get fired. He got fired. Sorry. So
But you know they say an ugly win is better than a pretty
pretty,
loss.
yeah,
So the thing is, Jamaica. I mean, apart from the honestly, even with the last game, the last game that they played against Venezuela, we there was a lot of moments that we looked very good as far as how we were handling the ball, how we were playing out the ball from the back instead of trying to do a long pass to get the ball over the midfield to the wingers and the strikers. We played a lot better and a lot more organized in those three matches. So it looked good. It looked pretty, so to speak, but it was still a loss. You know what I mean? I think we would have been more grateful, like overall, the consensus and the people and the supporters would have been more grateful if we had won any of those matches. And yes, we would have complained about like all the mistakes that we made and how sloppy we were, but the fact that we pulled out with something from the game, that I think that we would have been okay with that generally. Which it sounds crazy, because you might have snuck away a win, but there was no improvements that were made to the team, and then sometimes you might have lost, but you could see the clear improvements and the signs that this team is gonna get better. But at the end of the day, people want results. Let me say that again. People want results. So it goes back to an ugly win is better than a pretty loss all day. And another thing too, when we played against uh, not the Dominican Republic, we only won 1-0. People were expecting that we were gonna give them at least three, four goals, for love. Not to say take anything away from Dominican Republic. I mean, they're a respectable team as well, but they're not really carrying the heavyweights that we're carrying. I mean, we got maybe about 6 or 7 English Premier League players in our squad alone. That guys that are playing week in, week out. Um, and then also the game that we played against, and this is outside of the Copa America, the game that we played against um, the against Dominica, that was hard to watch at some point because we were leading the game the whole time. They were under a lot of pressure, even though we were sloppy at times. We led the game 3-0 to until Dominica came back and scored 2 goals on us, man. 2 goals, and they could have equalized.
You know, not a surprise to me though, Tristan. Honestly, that's not really a big surprise to me because I mean, over the years I've watched Jamaica's national team played. I mean, even though we have more younger budding players right now, I mean, I think the style hasn't changed much. We tend to always have this the tendency where even if we're having a lead in a game, we're always giving the opponent the opportunity to come and score it.
I hate that about, yeah, but go ahead.
That's always the case. It's not like it's when I was watching back then when I was watching the World Cup. I've seen cases where like, you know what? That's you cannot take your opponents for granted. I've seen like games locked in like the opponents, like one team was leading like 1 goal, and it was in the knockout rounds, and the team come and equalize, and they end up going into penalty. No extra time, and then it went to penalty, and then the other team that equalized, they won the game. So you cannot take your opponents for granted and play very lackluster when it comes especially if you're looking at the other team as an underdog. And no disrespect to Dominica, but I just think like when Jamaica should be totally like outplaying Dominica. I'm not gonna lie, it should be outplaying because I mean like, come on, we have a better
They were expecting to get 6 love, but they were literally expecting to get 6 love, but then they were like, you know what, we're gonna do the best we can and fight, even though we could get 6 love. You know what I
yeah.
mean?
Talk about coach. Another thing because I realized this coach that we had, he's from Iceland, right? He's not
Yeah,
a Brazilian. He's not a. Back in the days, we used to get coaches from Brazil. I mean,
yeah.
I don't. Do you think they will try to get another coach from Brazil or because I mean, most of the coaches that we had back then they were from, and the guy that I mentioned earlier, I think his name was Lazzaroni. I think Lazzaroni, Sebastian Lazzaroni.
Yeah, and we also had like a German coach, the Winfried Schaefer guy, and we
Yeah,
had quite a few coaches, to be
yeah,
quite honest. Yeah, your question is whether we should get a coach from South America in general.
yeah,
Um, I think we should. I think the general type of ball game that Jamaica likes to play is mostly like Brazilian style ball games. A lot of flair, and it's just a part of the game. You know what I mean? It's not the best way to play, but if you're good enough and you have players that are competent enough to do it, are talented enough to do it, then it works. It works for teams like Brazil. It works for teams like even Argentina. They play that tiki taka style ball game. No, is that the right system for the Jamaica men's national team? I don't know. I mean, maybe I think definitely possession is important, but I don't think that possession should be the be all, the end all be all. I don't think Jamaica is technically like a tiki taka like type of style completely, even though most Jamaican fans like that type of game. I think we should play on our strengths. Most Jamaican players were, you know, big, tall guys with a lot of speed. Like when you look at a lot of the South American guys, that most of them aren't as big and strong and tall as the Jamaicans and the Africans are. You know what I mean? So we should play, and some of the Europeans. So we should play based on our strength. That doesn't mean that we're not gonna try to have heavy possession, because possession is important to keep the other opponents, keep them running, and you roll the ball around so that you're not doing all of the running and you're not tiring out yourself throughout the end of the game. Let the opponent tire out themselves by chasing you and chasing the ball while you just knock it around. So usually the team with a lot of possession always has that advantage of having more wind towards the end of the game. But I think that we shouldn't pay too much attention on possession, but more so tactics and the system of how we change and adjust to different teams and change and adjust when different teams adjust and change to us so that we can get the ball through the midfield and get the ball from the midfield to the strikers and the wingers. That's one of our biggest problems right now with Team Jamaica. We don't have a proper midfield. I mean, respect to the guys that are playing midfield, Casey Palmer, Anderson, Damian Lowe, which is he's not even a midfielder, but he seems to work at times. Um, but we don't have that midfield maestro that we need, or a few midfield maestros to get that job done and connect the defense to the strikers and the wingers. I think that is probably our biggest problem because we have good defenders. Yes, they need some work as well, even though some of them are Premier League ballers and Championship ballers. But they need, they're solid enough to get the job done and compete against the best strikers in the world, you name it. And we have the offense as well. We have the strikers and wingers that are top tier. I mean, you're talking about the likes of Demari Gray, Michael Antonio, Leon Bailey, even though he's on a hiatus, and even like young budding prospects like Dixon, as well as Cephas, and as well as we have Bowser as well, and then more importantly we have Whisper as well. Dejon Richards. So we have that firepower of guys that are already in the game and guys that are coming up. You know what I mean?
Yep. But what I would really like to see with Jamaica's national team though, Tristan, I just think I'd like to see a lot more accuracy when it comes to passes. Accuracy, that's, I mean, yeah, they need to be a little bit more tactical as well, but accuracy in passes is very pivotal for the team, because if you look at like, if you the English Premier League and watch the way, I mean, not to say that we're gonna um get her that technique overnight. But I think, like, I mean, the next coach that comes into play, I wish they would have worked on that, because when I watch a Jamaican national team play, like, I mean, as much as all the team is young and budding, and you see that there are a lot of talents. I mean, it's not like we have a team like that is packed with a lot of on the lows. So what I mean by that is that, like, we have like every each player, they are skilled in their own respective way, and they play very good, and they are very good teammanship and thing. But I just think, like, we need more accuracy when it comes to passes on the team, because I mean
Right.
that helps a lot, especially in the midfield area. Just an if we can improve that area for our team, I'm telling you that
Right.
no team in CONCACAF can hold Jamaica if we do that. And me and even Leon Bailey, man, come on, man, like you need to be back in the team, man, and give Jamaica
See,
something.
that's another, yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know what's going on. I honestly,
man.
Leon Bailey, he's my baller. I'll keep supporting him, but I kind of I give up on him right now. I
Disappointed, bro.
already gave up on him as far as
Disappointed, bro.
joining the national team.
Disappointed, bro.
Yeah, so it's not even like, honestly, I'm not even really. Listen, man, I'm not even really pressed about it right now. I'll be honest with you. So, I mean, whenever he decides to get out of the politics and focus on, what I mean, actually getting some stuff done or whatever, that's up to him. That's his decision. But I definitely don't think he should just be able to walk back into the team that easily. I think he owes his teammates big, big, big
You know,
one-on-one apology. He doesn't have to do it publicly, but he needs to hash out some things with his teammates. Go
but
ahead.
but Tristan, do you know that, like, Low, right? I don't know if you watch this. I was watching Low on an interview, and he's the captain, right? And basically, Low was saying that he kind of agreed with Leon Bailey, and some of the things that some of the requests that he's making. He agreed that the Jamaica's national federation need to do better.
Of
But
course,
yeah,
yeah. There's a lot of people that agree with him with those
yeah,
things,
yeah,
but
yeah.
there's other things that he said and that people don't agree with, like the comments that he made about, oh, those guys aren't on my level and things of that nature. I just think that that's cancerous to mention things like that. Even if you think that, nothing's wrong with if that's what you think about the situation. But to express it on a public platform like that, and these are guys that you're playing with and going to battle with, and you're basically saying that why are they even on the team? They shouldn't have been picked. They're not on your level. The fact that you're saying things like that, it just rubs people the wrong way. You know what I mean? Like, where's the camaraderie? Especially as somebody that's supposed to be a leader in the team, you gotta have a more positive thing to say about your teammates, particularly. You know, whether they're playing good or not. You know what I mean?
No, you see, when it comes to playing for a national team, you cannot levels card is not one of the good the best direction to take. Especially if you are someone who believe in a team and you know you're gonna represent your country. There is no need to think that, like, you know what, like, I'm superior to my team members and I can do whatever I want to do. They're not on my level. This superiority card is not like the best thing to do, especially at this point. If you're playing for Jamaica and you represent your country at the highest level, teammanship is the way to go. You know, it doesn't matter it doesn't matter if you're more skillful, because on any team you're always gonna have more players that are more skillful. Some players that are probably on a different level, but no need to actually say that in bold, because at the end of the day that can dismantle a team. Because I mean, especially if you keep saying that, and, like, you know, no need to even utter that in the public's domain, because
Yeah.
that's not healthy for the team in general, you know.
Yeah,
And
it's
yeah,
super uncalled for. Super uncalled for.
yeah.
All right, so guys, remember to like the live. We're at the 1 hour and 11 minute mark. Um, I'm seeing where a couple people are have came through. Guys, remember to like if you're looking right now, if you're watching the live right now, whether it's live or on the replay. Just remember to give the live a like. It's very important that you do. It helps the algorithm. It helps to spread it to more people so that they can, come in and see what's going on the live and join and be a part of the conversation. As well as, if you're not already subscribed, please go ahead and subscribe to the channel so you can be updated. Click the notification bell as well so you can be updated whenever a new live or a new video is dropped. As usual, we'll keep these topics going and interested. So, Carlos, one more question regarding this whole football talk before we get into the last topic, and then we'll close out the live, right? So there's a lot of chatter going around saying that one of the reasons why the Reggae Boyz aren't successful is because we have too many English born football players in the squad instead of Jamaican born players. And their argument is that these English players are quality, they're good, but they don't have that fire inside of them to play and put their bodies on the line for Jamaica as the local players would. What do you say about that conversation that's going around?
All right. While there may be some truth to that popular talk, I think if you look at Jamaica's national team over the years, especially over the years, we have always had English-based players on our team. Even in the 1998 World Cup, when we qualified, there were a lot of English-based players on
Dion
that.
Burton.
You had the Dion Burton.
Yeah.
You have Robbie. I think it was
Robbie Hurl.
Robbie Hurl.
Yep.
Yeah, there were a lot of English-based players on that team, and that was when I was first introduced to the idea of Jamaica using
Paul
English.
Hall, I believe, as well.
Yes, using English-based players, and at the time, we did well. We did well.
Right.
So I'm just trying to make my comparison. We did well. And we had a very good coach at the time. It was Rene Simoes.
Simoes, yes.
He was a Brazilian coach, and at the time, I think we were more organized. I don't know if I could say probably they were more hungry because we have never been to the World Cup before. And you know what? They did their work, whatever assignment they had to do. They completed their assignment, and they went to the World Cup. We even won a game at the World Cup. That game against Japan, we won a game.
Right?
Yeah,
which is that's a big deal. Everybody was expecting that we were gonna get there and just like lose all our games. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and we did well, and we were up in the rankings from I think from 1998 up until about 2004, 2012, and
Yeah.
we had English based players. Now, the talk about we having too many English based players on the team. I think, and if they're gonna argue on the grounds of chemistry, and when I say chemistry, meaning that like if it's a case where these English based players, I understand they play their professional football in Europe or in England, right? So
Right.
I'm thinking that like most of the time they're gonna spend their time over there playing. So when it comes to playing for the Jamaican national team, it's actually second hand for them, meaning that like when they come to Jamaica and they practice, So I'm thinking that like the thing is that like whenever it comes to like to play at the national level now, maybe when they are playing at the national level, if they are not actively practicing with that, or do not use to the rhythm of of our local based players, or
Right.
then I think that can affect the whole flow of the game, and it doesn't necessarily mean that it's because of the English based players why we are doing wrong, but I think it all have to do with the chemistry of the game itself, because you have what these players are playing in England, and then the local based players, they're used to different styles, so when you combine the two together, you tend not to get the flow. You might not get a good flow. So I'm just saying this to say that I'm not really blaming the English-based players, because I've always heard this narrative that it's because of the English-based players why we're not doing well. On the other hand, it could be that like the local-based players probably need to level up as well. Even though we have very very good local-based players, the players that are from all our local clubs, the Arnett Gardens, and you know the names, the list of um, Premier League teams that we have, and a very good player. Because even with the likes of the Dixon and these players who they are very good. So I think it's just the chemistry, and I think it's just the coach. It is the duty of the coach to try to work on this chemistry, and that's why even and as great as Leon Bailey is, I
Right.
think Leon Bailey when he plays for Jamaica is not even playing at his best game. When he's playing over there in England, he's playing a A game. I know to me, even at this point in time, Leon Bailey still is not impactful when he plays for
For
Jamaica.
Jamaica.
No, he's not impactful. He's not
It,
impactful. So,
it's
so
clear. Yeah.
it's clear. So I just think it boils down to the chemistry, because these guys. Jamaica is second. Jamaica national team is second home for them. Second. Everybody want to play for the national team, because the greatest thing for them is if the national team qualify for the World Cup, then they get a chance to play in the World Cup, and that's one of the high point. The high point of any player, they want to play in the World Cup. Every player want to play in the World Cup, so it's for them to be playing for Jamaica national team. If Jamaica qualify, they play in the World Cup. So I mean, I don't think it's really because of the English-based player why we are, because history has shown that we have had numerous English-based players on the team,
Yeah.
and during that time we had made it to the World Cup, and we have done. I would like to say we have done well. We should have gone through the knockout round, but we won a game, so it's no different from back then. I just think the coach, whichever coach you got, they need to just work on the chemistry and get the team organized, and we should make it to this World Cup. I don't think there is any excuse for us not to make it to this World Cup. This is by chance this is gonna be one of our easiest chance to make it to the World
By
Cup,
far.
given the fact that Mexico, the United States, and Canada, they are hosts of the World Cup. So look at it. It should be a cakewalk for us. So I mean, there shouldn't be any excuse right now. So I think we can make it with our
I,
English-based players.
I agree. Here's my take on the whole situation between the English versus the local ballers, right? I think that there has been an effort by a lot of people to create that segregation. Not necessarily that they're trying to create one, it's just they have an internal bias. A lot of people wouldn't mind if we send a Jamaican national team out there to play the biggest games with all local based players, right? And I'll be honest, if we do that, and we've done that before, we're gonna get 6 love, 7 love, even, and we're gonna struggle even against some of the Caribbean teams, because I look at the Cavaliers team is basically the best, has been one of the best, if not the best, club in Jamaica's Premier League. And then when those are all local players, when they go out and play the international club games, they can't even win games, man. They're losing against like all the teams from all different countries, all the clubs from different countries and stuff like that. Look, I'm not saying that there aren't very talented local based players. There are some, but the problem is most of them, they're too old. They're either too old or they're young and ready, which is a good, if they're young, that's great, but they're underdeveloped. They're not developed in the right way because they don't have that experience to go out in certain places like Europe or South America where football is being played on a high level so that they can get up to that speed. Now, as far as the English based players not basically playing with the heart that the Jamaican born players are playing with, to me, that's rubbish. That's total nonsense. And I'll tell you why. Carlos, for anybody that has traveled outside of Jamaica for any extended period of time, knows that when you go to certain countries like the UK or Canada or the United States or wherever, there are Jamaican communities, right? Where, yes, there's many different people from all over the world living, and that's whatever, but there's Jamaican communities where the Jamaicans that move to those countries, and when they bear kids, their kids might talk English with a UK accent or with a Canadian or with an American accent, but realistically, most of the time the way they're brought up and their culture is going to be of that Jamaican culture. When you look at their diet, it's gonna be, most of the time it's gonna be a Jamaican diet. It's gonna be a Jamaican type of cultural thought process of how they process the world in general, if you will, and it's not gonna be totally it's not gonna be the typical culture and way how a regular American where their parents was American, or a regular UK person where their parents were UK or Canadian would see things and stuff like that. So what I'm saying is, with most of those kids, not all of them, I'm not going to swear for all of them, but most of those kids have a certain sense of belonging and roots to Jamaica. Likewise, kids that their parents are from Israel, they were born in America, but they still classify themselves as Jewish, right? And they look at Israel as their motherland, as their roots. So it's the same way how a lot of Jamaican kids that are born in America, UK, and Canada with Jamaican parents, even though they're of a different citizenship, a lot of them still hold their roots to be Jamaica. Not even some of them, they don't even think of themselves as African. You know how we can even go deep and say every black person is African, right? They don't even think of it that way. Their roots and where they come from and their history, family wise, they connect it to Jamaica, basically. So when those guys come out and play, yes, maybe not all of them are gonna play with that heart, but I tell you, there's a lot of them that are gonna play with that heart because they feel that connection to Jamaica. When they were growing up, when they had their birthday parties, a lot of their uncles, aunts, and family member friends were all Jamaican. They were playing Jamaican music in a Jamaican culture and eating Jamaican food throughout their party. So even though they're speaking a different dialect or a different accent and so forth, so on, at the end of the day, inherently there's that connection to Jamaica that a lot of them will still have, to where they will lay their bodies out and fight like soldiers to win. And it's not just coming to get vacation or just doing it selfishly for themselves. You see what I'm saying? A lot of those guys, they don't just come to Jamaica and get the passport. Demari Gray actually bought a house in Jamaica, so he technically lives in Jamaica even though he's not here all the time. So that says a lot. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, says a lot. Says a lot, Tristan.
I know I was a bit long-winded, but
No man, it says a lot, man. Of course, like I mean, I just don't buy the narrative, man. Like overall, like don't blame the us like using English based players just as the sole reason why we sometimes we don't win a game. That has nothing to do with it, you know. Chemistry is a more important thing to work, and I think that's and I'll reiterate that it's really the coach duty to get that done. And sometimes you also need the team members to be like they need to be disciplined as well. I need to because the coach has a very hard time, you know, sometimes just to get this team organized. Because a lot of times not everyone is gonna want to follow what the coach is saying, or you know, there are a lot of back and forth at times. So I just think that those things need to be worked on as well. And I mean, we can get it done, you know,
Yeah.
regardless of we have a lot of English players and local players.
It will be done. I believe it will be done. We just need to figure out this coach situation and get a coach that makes sense. I'm seeing that they're interviewing and prospecting various people. One of the names that brought up was a guy called Miguel Coley. Apparently, he is a young guy. He's like 44 or something like that. He was an assistant coach to Winfried Schaefer, the German coach that we had for some time. And I see like people are hyping him up or whatever to say, okay, he should be the one or whatever. But I disagree. I don't, and not because because he has a European pro license, which is great. That's the highest license you can get as a coach. But it's not because he's Jamaican, and a lot of people might think that, oh, a lot of people don't want him to be the coach because he's Jamaican. No, that's not. It's not because he's Jamaican. I just, for a coach to coach this level of talent that we have and this opportunity that we have to make a big run on the world stage, we need something more than a young 40 something year old guy that hasn't had that level of. Yes, he's done some international stints as in the club scene in Saudi Arabia or something like that as assistant coach or whatever, but I think that that's not enough to take over that such a big role. I think we need one thing about discipline. You brought up discipline. A lot of those guys are millionaire. They got their own egos and they like to do things their own way and things like that. You need an older guy. You don't need somebody that's close to their age. You need an older guy that's has way more accomplishment under his belt to come and really grab the respect and demand the respect from those guys. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that is very important. It's very important to get it done, you know, for them to have someone who is like, I mean, it might the coach might need to be a little older, but if I mean if he's a balanced man and organized and have great leadership qualities, I think, I mean, if he can get it done, I mean, I don't think there should be a big hurrah about it, you know. At the end
Yeah.
of the day, yeah, it's just the qualities that you come with and the principles and you know how to lead and organize and plan, you know, and should be able to get it done.
All right, guys, remember to like the live. Remember to like the live. Also, you want to subscribe if you are not already subscribed. Why is it important to like the live? Because it sends a message out to the algorithm to display the live to many more people as impressions so that they can come and join and see what we have going on here, and that will grow the video, grow the channel, and you know eventually grow everything that we have going on. So it's important to click the like button. Definitely subscribe if you like the content, and also share it to somebody that you think that might be interested in this content as well. So now we're gonna go into our last topic. So it seems Mark Golding is now renounces his UK citizenship. I'm not sure if that process is complete as yet, but it's certainly in the works based on a speech that he made lately. Carlos, what say you about this whole situation? I know this is a topic that we exhausted earlier.
All right, so with Mark Golan renouncing his citizenship, I mean, I could have seen that coming, but I think I think he do it more likely because of the pressure that he faced in the last couple of weeks. Because you know
Right.
that, I mean, he wanted to be the next, he wanted to be the next prime minister for Jamaica, and by and large, you realize that if he's gonna be the prime minister for Jamaica, and and his aim is to show them that he's patriotic, show that he's gonna show them that he's gonna display some level of loyalty and being an honorable person for Jamaica. I think he's thinking to himself that, you know what, maybe the best thing to do is to renounce my UK citizenship. Even though initially when we had this discussion, I was one who was saying that, you know what, I don't think you necessarily need to do that, because at the end of the day, because of our constitution, once he has a citizenship for a Commonwealth nation, it is not a necessity for him to renounce that citizenship, because he's a citizen for a Commonwealth nation. So I was one who was against the idea of him renouncing it, but the fact that he decided to do it now, I can see the reason why he do it, even though I think it was merely because of the mounted pressure that he faced. So he has no choice but to do it. I mean, I think I don't really see the big. Honestly, I still don't see the big deal. I mean, I don't know what can be achieved by from this by either party though, because at the end of the day, you renouncing the citizenship it is just to show good statesmanship, good loyalty, and being patriotic. But in the grand scheme of things, though, I don't think there is much achievement to be gained from the whole idea of him renouncing his citizenship. You know, I mean,
Yeah.
it's overall, I see it's a good political tactic played by the opposing party,
Right.
and it seems to be working out favorable for them. And I mean, I guess you want to say that Mr. Mark Golden succumbed to his opponent's pressure, and it's working out for them. But let us see if it will lead to the point where it will be a victory for the opponent party, or
Yeah.
it could work out favorable for Mr. Golden, where he
Right.
become the next prime minister. It could be a
Here's
win. It could be a win for both of them. But let us see what transpire from this
here's
decision.
here's my
I'm more
thought.
Golden. Yep.
Here's my thought. Here's my thought on it. Right. I mean, we've had this conversation before, guys. If you don't know that if you don't know, you could go ahead. If you want to know more about the conversation that we had about this topic, about Mark Golding renouncing his citizenship, you can go back to the live on this page. It's called Mark Golding's citizenship controversy. We did a whole live about it. Now, here's my take on the recent update. Now, I'm gonna stay consistent with what I was saying. Um, if I was Mark Golding's one of his advisors, I would advise him to go ahead and renounce his citizenship, because that would be playing chess, and that would be the basically, I wouldn't say it's the checkmate move, but it's a check move basically. You know what I mean? Because Andrew Holness is playing chess, and he put Mark Golding in a position to where he had to sacrifice a pawn in order to continue playing the game, and that pawn is his UK citizenship. So unless I think that if he didn't do that, the media attention and the media coverage um, about it would have put a stain on his campaign, and would it have been the decider? I don't know, but could it have lost him some votes? Maybe. So him now doing that, it shows a sign of his patriotism, and he can use that as an angle in order to spread his agenda and run his campaign and use it to his advantage. So, great move politically by Mr. Mark Golding. Look, I'm not one for picking sides, but politics is interesting, and when I see certain moves like that made on either side, and how clever they are or how smart they are, and to me it's just a game of chess. It's just like watching business guys in business making decisions and competing against each other, that are, in the same, that are producing similar products or services,
But you know what, Tristan? The thing is that there could be two things that result from this, right? So Mark Golan renouncing his citizenship. It could just be seen as him playing political suicide, because you know what, it will just show, all right, you know what, like, all right, you succumbed to the pressure of your opponent. You renounce your UK citizenship. So that may his supporters are maybe seeing him as weak, maybe seeing him as weak and have no confidence in him, because they're thinking that, okay, you give up your citizenship because of pressure from your opponent. So yeah, it could be seen as some form of political suicide on his part, and then that will give more strength to the Jamaica Labour Party, because the thing they have an agenda, and they have achieved the desired result from the agenda, which will lead more voters towards
I
their
don't
party.
think I don't think that was the result that the JLP wanted. I think they wanted him to not renounce it so that it can always be an angle, especially when it gets to the debate. I don't think that helps the JLP, is what I'm saying. I think
No,
that
that, and,
him
that, that- and that's,
him
I
him
mean,
him not
exactly.
renouncing it it helps the JLP, because then they still have that angle. Now, him renouncing it, he takes away an angle. He takes away a fighting point that the JLP has. So they can't even bring that up as a solid point in the debate when it comes to that point. They have to try to find something else. So that's why I think that's a great chess move for him, and it's not a sign of weakness. Like, I get what you're saying. It, you're looking at it as like somebody telling you what to do and you do it, but for the people that are really into this politics thing, I think they'll understand it.
You see, the thing is that, I mean, sometimes in these situations, though, like, I've seen where, like, the pressure that is being mounted by the Jamaica Labour Party and Mark Golden, right, for him to renounce his UK citizenship. I mean, I get what they're doing, and I know that their intention, but a lot of times, I mean, it could be a case where, like, you know what, Mark Golden, as we're seeing right now, decided to renounce his UK citizenship. All right, that's not what we want him to do. We were just doing it just to have so that the public can see that, you know what, we're going to show you that this guy is disloyal to his country. So that's going to be their sole argument that they use to gain more popularity and get more voters to side with them. But at the end of the day, I mean, by Mark decided to do that right now, I can see where, and, like, you know what, Mark, it could be see where Mark, I don't want to say, like, too much weak, but I know people might say you're succumbing to under pressure, because I mean, at the end of the day, as long as when you're in this game, as long as whenever you hold on to a position, you have to affirm to it, knowing that, regardless of what your opponent is saying, this is what you set out to do, this is what you have in your manifesto, and this is what you're gonna achieve. So I mean, I get what they're trying to do. I get that Mark Golan, his intention is to show that he's patriotic and loyal to his country, and he's gonna do the honorable thing. But I mean, just to a large extent, I don't even know if him doing that it is even showing that he's loyal, though. To be honest, it's not even showing, because I mean, to me, like, I don't want to go back to our earlier life that we have with the same discussion. I just think, like, it doesn't really show too much loyalty to me for him to actually do that, because a lot of times we see where, like, they ask um they ask them to renounce, like, their citizenship. For example, if they have a US citizenship, they renounce it because they're saying that by renouncing your citizenship for another country, then this is what it's gonna show. A lot of times when they do that, when the rubber meets the road, it's a different situation. So I mean, like, I mean, I just think it is just a big uproar for, I mean, for not really any substantial result. I don't think we're gonna see big result from this. I mean, they're gonna. I think Jamaica National Party will have to divert to another argument, to get more attention. and let us see how that transpire.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying, and that's why I disagree with you. What you said earlier, because now that's not gonna be a headline anymore. That's gonna be used as a dagger in the side of Mark Golding, because now, okay, so now I renounce my UK citizenship. You can't talk about that anymore or use it against me anymore. So what else are you gonna use? So we are running out of. You're basically running out of fuel, when I take, because that's something that he had to sacrifice. Yeah, it sucks for him. Yeah, but it's not, when in the grand scheme of things, the the I guess the squeeze outweighs the juice outweighs the squeeze. You see what I'm saying? So the juice would be, the People's National Party winning with him as the lead, and the squeeze would be him losing, renouncing his citizenship or losing his citizenship. So I'm not gonna beat it out. If you want to make any final thoughts on it, I'll hear you out. But
No, I mean, no, for me, like, honestly, at this point in time, when it comes down to like Mark Golan's decision to renounce his citizenship, if you think it's the best thing for him to do, I just think he should just do it. I mean, just do it. I mean,
yeah, I would definitely advise him to do it. But all
there,
right, go
yeah.
ahead.
I just don't think there's any gains from that overall. It's just just like, like you just telling someone to do something and they do it. Like, what's the next best thing you have to say?
Yeah.
Find another dirt. Like, I mean,
No,
find something
I
bigger.
respect your opinion. I respect your
Yeah.
opinion. All right, so guys, remember to like, share, and subscribe. Remember to like the live. It's very important that you like the live. As I was saying before, liking the live is so important because it sends a message to the algorithm that a live is on, or a live was going, and it gives a lot of impression on a lot of people's page when they're on the app or on the YouTube website, so they can see the topic and see what we're talking about, and they could come ahead and they could come along and join the live and see what's going on and see if they like it. It'll grow the channel. So definitely like the live, as well as subscribe if you haven't already subscribed, as well as share the live, this content, to somebody that you think may be interested in it. Now, Carlos, I wanted to, this isn't a topic or anything, but I wanted to just briefly go over a book that I've been reading lately. I've been getting more. I've been getting back into reading. A lot more now, and I have quite a few books that I still haven't read yet. And lately I've been reading this book. It's about personal finance, and it's called Millionaire Mission, and it's written by Brian Preston. He's actually the guy that runs the Money Guy show on YouTube. Now, I was not paid to talk about this book. I just wanted to express it to my viewers, to my audience. This book, if you're not a financially savvy person and you want to get all your finances in order, whether you're in debt or maybe you're not in debt, maybe you're trying to plan for retirement, or you're trying to invest in order to grow, but you don't know where to put your money. Let's say you come up into a windfall of money and you don't know what to do with it, things of that nature, or you just left college or you just left school and you just started a job as a young 20-year-old or a teenager. I encourage anybody that has time to go and check out this book. This is a very helpful book, which it goes over basically all the broad topics of personal finance with detailed instructions of things and principles that they're suggesting that will upgrade the amount of upgrade the amount of wealth that you can accumulate within your lifetime, as well as improve the relationship between your family members and friends and your overall quality of life. It's not all about finances. It's a really good read. They talk about a 9 step approach, which is the financial order of operation, and it basically goes over things that you want to do before certain things and why you want to do it before certain things in order to be as efficient as possible with accumulating as much wealth without wastage, because that's important. I mean, you can do whatever, invest or whatever, pay down this or whatever, and yes, you're still growing in wealth, you're still growing in net worth and such so forth, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it's the best way. This book teach kind of like does the math for you with some things, and it teaches you how to do the math, how to evaluate. Okay, well, does this make sense if I do this first or that first? And then some things you can't leave it down to math. Some things, yes, you're gonna end up with less money, but the psychology of it will leave you in a better situation faster. So that's what this book is all about. And guys, go ahead and preview it. You don't have to buy it. If you could go on Amazon and preview it and just kind of see what it's talking about. But it's a very good read. Carlos, you have anything to say about this?
You know, I've never read that book before, but based on what you're saying so far, it sounds. I mean, like sounds like a very good book. Might be my next read. A book I might get my hand on, because I know. I mean, I have a couple of books that I'm trying to finalize myself. A couple
Yeah.
of books that, yeah, like since the last year or so, I kind of reduced the amount of books that I've been reading, because just need to get a little bit more organized. But I mean, it sounds like a good book. I read similar books to that one,
Right.
but
Right.
Millionaire, a lot of them. But it sounds like I might want to give that one a read as well, to see what's going on.
Definitely. There's a lot of gems in there. The guy that wrote the book, he's actually a financial advisor, but then he's also a CPA. So you're getting information from a tax perspective, likewise, managing finances perspective. You know what I mean? And there's a lot of gems in there that, you might find that you didn't know, because you're not avidly looking up tax codes and things of that nature to see where you could save money on investment opportunities and save money on taxes and all that. It's just a wonderful read. I put it that way, right? And a lot of things in the book I've implemented in my life as well. Even before I read the book, there's a lot of things I've already implemented, but it just kind of validates some of the things that I've been doing. But then there's still things that I need to work on myself, that it basically brings that awareness to.
Yeah, sounds good. Sounds like a very, very good book, Chester. Especially, like, I'm the kind of person that is very fascinated by finance and personal finance and business and wealth accumulation and all the good stuff, Chester. So
Yeah.
yeah.
All right. So, guys, I want to thank you. We're at the 1 hour and 48 minute time frame. We really need to wrap this up. I want to thank everybody that joined the live. Enough respect to everyone. Big up, big up. Thank you for tuning in. If you're live right now, give yourself a round of applause. If you are watching on the replay, go ahead and give yourself a round of applause. We thank you for coming by. Carlos, thank you for your great contribution. Couldn't do this without you, my friend. And I definitely hope to see you on Friday, where we will have a more fun topic, so to speak. It should be interesting for the Jamaican or the dancehall crowd, because there's been some stuff that we need to talk about. But thank you for your contribution, man, and big up yourself. We'll touch base. All right.
Yeah, one love.
All right, blessed. All right, people, that's it, man. Let me leave you guys out with some
Oh,
music.
you know here? Okay.
Carlos and Mike, are you? Yeah. Anyways, guys, yeah. So respect, guys. I'm gonna leave out with some music, and yeah, bless up to everybody. Thank you for joining. All right.
Yo, Kado, you see, girl, me look good. Where go? Girl, I see, man. Eh? Yo, you're my baby. You're my wife. You don't worry about this girl out the road. Just live your life. Girl, you look good. Every man want a link. Back you up, no sting. Girl, you look good. Every man want a link. Go put on your shorts, come and love when you are print. Girl, you look good. Every man want a link. You're not full of bed bug, flea and drink. Girl, you look good. Every man want a never get up for your party and drink. Yo, good body girl, let's step out and muggle. Some girl a wear spike heel and a wobble. Fi reach a your yard, you no puggle, you no puggle. And a one jacky sit down in a saddle. Kick me no raffle, you no play when shade gets the wriggle. Body no tired, girl, you fit like a figgle. Cock up in a shot and you them a jiggle. Fat don't stand up in the middle. Girl, you look good. Every man want a link. Back you up, no sting. Girl, you look good. Every man want a link. Go put on your shorts, come and love when you are print. Girl, you look good. Every man want a link. You're not full of bed bug, flea and drink. Girl, you look good. Every man want a never get up for your party and drink. Yo, your body good from head down to toe. Anywhere you go, the man them want you to. Broke off, girl, you know you a pro. Some girl and I'm dead meat, them a must grow. Maintain your pride, your character no low. Which girl no pay rent and a fear tip toe. No catch my eye top star your own show. You know who the she sell her flow. Girl, you look good. Every man want a link. Back you up, no sting. Girl, you look good. Every man want a link. Go put on your shorts, come and love when you are print. Girl, you look good. Every man want a link. You're not full of bed bug, flea and drink. Girl, you look good. Every man want a never get up for your party and drink. Yo, you're my baby. You're my wife. You don't worry about this girl out the road. Just live your life. Enough man and love after you when you come out with you something fat up in her tights. But me not worry about that, me baby coming home. Me I hug you up every night. Girl, you look good. Every man want a link. Back you up, no sting. Girl, you look good. Every man want a link. Go put on your shorts, come and love when you are print. Girl, you look good. Every man want a link. You're not full of bed bug, flea and drink. Girl, you look good. Every man want a never get up for your party and drink. Yeah.